Good evening, everybody. We got here a 1v1 on Haboob, and a bit of a unique map. We don't see it too often, but we got wood lines all around the outside of the map, and then two big forests that separate the two players, and then in between we do have a little bit of an opening that we do see most of the aggression coming through. So in the blue, we do have SongSong, and he is playing as the Goths, and as a matter of fact, he's going up. He is going to lame this rhino. That'll be pretty big for the food economy. His enemy, Dragonstar, of course, playing as the Mongols, always wanting access to that hunt. So going to be pretty upset about losing that rhinoceros right off the bat. Might even go for a lame of his own to pick up this one from the enemy. But SongSong, well aware of the risk involved, so he is going to send another villager forward, and we are off to a pretty messy start. And you know what? He's going to go right past this initial, a couple of free shots on that scout against SongSong, but SongSong is focused on one thing and one thing only, and that is laming the enemy. Of course, Dragonstar, in his fog of war, will be able to see that his deer, ostrich, zebra, they are falling, and so that will be something he'll notice, and he obviously knows he's already been lamed with one rhinoceros, and that's huge, because when you're the Mongols, you want to get that hunt. That's how you get your advantage in early game, and that is going to be a big deal, as Blue coming even further forward. I'm going to just check his fog of war. He does see these berries, and he's going to run forward and see what he pulls off here. Going to try and lame the berries a little bit, just disrupt the food as much as possible, but he can't do quite put that house down. He's going to have to run away, because obviously not wanting to engage against a scout and a villager with his already weakened scout and his weakened villager. Gets a few free hits, actually. Now his villager not too bad off, but still going to want to run away, as the enemy, Dragonstar, does move forward and is going to try and pick up whatever he can from these decaying carcasses that are on the other side of the base. One thing that is interesting to note, actually, is SongSong has decided to go for a forward wood line rather than the back. That is, you know, a personal choice. A little bit safer to go to the back, but the front is going to be a little bit closer, so it's a bit of a toss-up as the mill is being dropped here. This villager still causing a little bit of disruption, but likely won't go down. Oh no, the block's happening, and the villager will go down. That is a big change, as there is now a 2-villager lead for the Mongol player. It's more like one in a little bit, but still not bad, as we see villagers collecting up this food where possible, moving over to the berries, but lots of disruption so far, as both of these players, now that the initial interruptions have started out, are just going to be scouting around, trying to figure out what they can. And Dragonstar pushing the deer of the enemy in towards his base. SongSong is not going to like that, but he's not super interested in collecting the deer anyways, because he did get a free rhino out of the deal. And of course, when you are playing as the Goths, it's not quite as important as the Mongols when it comes to the early Dark Age hunt. That is such an important piece of the Mongol strategy. And another zebra being pushed in. This is going to really help the uptime for Dragonstar, and it's really going to give him that little bit of an advantage. He already has one extra villager. He's now going to have access to more food than he would have had he just given up after the first lame. And Blue, choosing to engage against the scout, doesn't quite get the kill, but we will be seeing a little bit of aggression, as they're both going up on the same population, but Dragonstar just that much ahead. because of his first lead. So both have the same number of villagers, and already seeing some militia coming out. And when we move over to Dragonstar's perspective, he sees that militia and he is going to start to run. He knows what's coming, and he's not too upset. He's got the hunt bonus that he wanted. He knows what's coming, so he's going to drop a barracks of his own. He's going to wall in, and he should be okay, as the tables have turned a little bit with SongSong going forward, collecting that deer that was being lamed. Both these players, though, just moving up to the next age, as Strush not going to be super powerful, but going to try to get as much value out of it, trying to waste time of the enemy. That is the biggest purpose of it at this point in time. And as soon as the next age is hit, let's see what gets dropped, and it will be an archery range. So archers able to take out militia so easily, and of course when you're playing as the Goths, it's going to be your infantry that are your main source of aggression. So blacksmith archery range already dropped for Dragonstar, and then if we go back to the enemy, archery range is coming forward, just because he knows that this archery range is already up. So likely going to see more aggression with these militia. Not sure what they'll be able to get at this point in time, but they are being upgraded to man-at-arms, so that will just cause that much more damage and that much more of a hassle. Once these are men-at-arms, they will be able to break down this lumber camp quite quickly, and this villager repairing will not be enough. So that is something to note, as man-at-arms is now in, and we do have skirmishers coming forward. One archer already out and one skirmisher already out. So the archer versus the skirmisher, but this archer is going to hit the man-at-arms before this skirm can even come forward. So that will force these men-at-arms to run a little bit, and of course the hit-and-run play that an archer can use is going to be very advantageous, but the skirmisher always beats the archer in a one-on-one scenario. We see more skirmishers coming forward from the Goth player. Of course, not too much you can do against skirmishers when you are playing, and this was open, as a matter of fact. Interesting to note that those men-at-arms could have gotten maybe even a kill out of them, as we see a large difference in military. We got just as many skirms as there are archers for the enemy, plus all of these men-at-arms causing delays, and that's really huge. The big delays that are being caused against the enemy. Meanwhile, you look at the economy of SongSong, it's been completely safe this entire time. And upgrades already starting to come in for both. The man-at-arms not with any upgrades yet, but the skirmishers do have +1 attack and range, and they will be getting that +1 defense as well, so that will give them just that little bit of an edge over the enemy. As skirmishers are coming in from each side, villager numbers are the same at this point in time, but a big military lead for the aggressor. And severely housed is Dragonstar, so he is pushed into a little bit of a corner. He's going to be playing defense, but one thing to note, he has not invested as much into his military as the enemy has. While he has had a much weaker economy during this time because of all the disruption, look at that, half of his economy right now is completely idle. He is able to take out most of these units. Like, that's pretty good. These are all very weak now. The man-at-arms still causing damage, going to take out this mill, just be a hassle, really, at the end of the day. And the skirmishers going to try and target what they can, but they will go down. And a little bit of a retreat, or a feigned retreat at least, from the Goth player of SongSong. But all of this distraction, all of this disruption, we're having villagers fighting man-at-arms with skirmishers attacking behind. Never a situation you want to be seeing, and never a situation you want to be stuck in, because that's exactly what it feels like when you're in this situation, is completely stuck. When we take a look at SongSong, his economy feeling pretty strong right now, very clean compared to the enemy, but resources are not too different. We do have a villager count that is advantageous to SongSong, but as far as the numbers of resources available, not a huge difference apart from the stone. As far as stone, there was a necessity to build a tower back on the wood just to protect his woodlines, because it becomes so powerful to have protected woodlines further on in the game. As you can see, SongSong choosing to go forward with his woodline means they're closer to the town center, but they are also closer to the enemy. So it's worked out in his favor because he's been the aggressor during this entire game. An interesting choice to have a spearman on the field. Not sure what I think about that. But might be able to get in close, get a few free picks, be a little bit of a meat shield for these skirmishers, because obviously it's going to be a little bit stronger than a regular archer, as a stable is coming up for the Goth player, so he's, you know, a little bit forward thinking with this spearman, and that will be able to help quite a bit, as a market is going up for Dragonstar. And we'll see him trying to balance out his economy and possibly buy his way up to the next age in the next little while. These skirmishers trying to get as much value out of themselves as possible, and both of the players now looking to buy some sort of value for the next age, as there is almost 600 gold in the bank for SongSong, and he's using no gold right now with just scouts and skirmishers, so we'll be able to sell that for quite a bit of food. And now that that spearman has gone down, there are 2 scouts on the field for SongSong. These skirmishers will have to run away, as the archers are going to get a few free shots, and the scouts really intimidating the foe at this point in time. SongSong, big advantage, but not completely on the run ahead. So we do see just what we thought we would see, and Dragonstar is on the way up to the next age, and those Castle Age upgrades are going to be just ginormous at this point in time. He can contain this military until he gets enough Castle Age units out. He will be fully protected, and the entire economy of Dragonstar is fighting against these skirmishers. Look at all the gold that's just being carried back to the mines, as these skirmishers are trying to get value where they can. But of course, it's very difficult when you're trying to manage everything. Both of the players on the way up to the next age now, and we see lots of units going over, trying to get gold. So we will be seeing some knights early on, already seeing a scout on the way, and that will be able to clean up quite a few of these skirmishers, especially with his own skirmishers in behind, getting a few free shots. So 2 stables will be out. And when you're playing as the Mongols, you do want to have a stable always. You are going to want to get bloodlines. You're going to want to get those upgrades for your Mangadai in the late game. But with the aggression that we've been seeing, I'm not sure if this game will even make it to the late game. It has been so aggressive, back and forth. And when we take a look at SongSong, he doesn't see the stables yet. He knows that there's 1 scout, so he now knows there's the 1 stable. He doesn't know there's 2. And immediately we see 2 knights coming out. 2 knights will clean this up, no problem. Even the 2 spears, not a problem at this point in time for the enemy. And we see bloodlines coming in for the Goth player, so he's going to stick with some cavalry, and he is also going to build in a few more spears. He knows that it's necessary for him at this point in time to have spears on the field, because it's all that can protect him against these knights. So already we got Both of those spears down. The knights focusing down the spearmen when possible. And the spearmen just not able to engage. These need to be upgraded. And right now we do have the attack upgrade coming in for the spearmen. So that will be able to engage a little bit better. But the switch is already happening, and we're seeing camels from Dragonstar. So he knows that the enemy's going to come forward with knights of his own. He knows that he needs to negate those knights, so he comes out with camels of his own. And a monk already forward, going to collect up this relic, just get some free gold while he can. So going to go for a conversion. Probably would rather pick up a knight than a spearman. And these two knights going to run around. How much damage can they do realistically? Is he going to go for the gold? Is he going to go for the tower? Hard to say at this point in time. As Dragonstar is moving forward, both players looking to engage, and he goes for the gold. And it just a big run back to the town center. That is going to be very, very detrimental to the economy of Dragonstar. But Dragonstar has already proved in this game that it doesn't really matter that much, because he turns back around and he gets rid of the gold of the enemy, as the knights are now in, and the tower doesn't matter because the knights just have that much strength. They can fight underneath the tower, they can engage, and they're going to go 2v1 against a camel. Won't get the win here just because the tower is firing as well, but definitely seeing lots of wasted time. Players 4 villager difference, but lots of idols right now for the Goth player, who is going to be dropping a castle forward just where he decides to drop it, and it's as aggressive as you can possibly get for a castle. Immediately dropped, and seeing monks try to convert as quickly as possible. A camel running forward, but this is a game ender. There's no way that this town center stays up. Even with 2 villager conversions, I mean, that's not going to do too much damage, as this castle is now built, and we will likely see the GG called pretty soon, because that entire farming economy of Dragonstar is completely demolished. Look at the points score. So close, but when you take a look at the abilities and the space, it's just so difficult right now for Dragonstar to be engaging underneath this castle, as we already see Huskarls coming out, and those Huskarls, they can take fire from any archers, they can take fire from the town center, they can fight underneath this watchtower for hours, not a problem, as more and more are being built, and they are trying to engage. Pikemen versus camels, of course you always want to have pikemen against camels, but this number, camels still win. And so town center is being lost. Is there going to be a second town center? There is now. Still only the one town center for SongSong, so a second town center for Dragonstar would usually get him a little bit ahead economically, but he is so far right now, it is just so that he can stay afloat as siege workshops being built. Wonder if we're going to see probably some scorpions so that he can engage against the infantry, because Huskarls, once they get into a big mass, it's very difficult, even if you have a castle of your own, to be engaging against them. 155 stone in the bank, so he is a long ways away from getting his own castle. And Mangadai even very weak against the Goths in their Huskarls, so that is something to note as well. We will see lots of monks. If we can get a few conversions, that will make a difference. Looks like not much. The Goths able to run away before anything happens, and the engagement choosing to happen while the monks were too far away, and we'll just heal up the cavalry while they can. But I mean, look at this, a knight running in totally unopposed, and a couple of conversions being pretty important right now, as Dragonstar, he has kept a balanced economy, all things considered, but now he is losing population space. He needs houses, he needs space. and he ultimately needs more villagers. His economy is in shambles. All of these farms virtually ineffective at this point in time, and the monks being aggressive towards one another. As we see the mangonel gets a shot off, it kills 2 monks. That's pretty good. That's worth it. You get a few monk picks and you get a few conversions of your own, that can change the course of battle so quickly. And when you see all this cavalry on the field, that is going to take out the infantry no problem. And the Goth player doesn't have the military advantage, even though it's in such a great position with this castle on the farms, on the front of the base. One thing to note, very lucky for Dragonstar, all of his resources, you know, they are typically to the sides, but out of reach of that castle. So this stone's still accessible, this gold's still accessible, this gold, they're all still accessible. He's building a second town center. When we take a look at SongSong, he is on his second, he is building his third already, but he's being pressured by mangonels. And Dragonstar is choosing just not to engage underneath that castle. He knows that he doesn't want to be fighting underneath that castle, and he knows that until he can get castle of his own up, it's not going to be worth it. So he will likely get his own castle up in not too long. He only has 2 villagers collecting up stone right now, but he is over 500 stone. So once those villagers can collect up enough, of course you don't want too many collecting stone, just because that means they're not collecting up resources that can build your economy or build up your army. You want to be collecting gold, especially want to be collecting food with all these farms that are being lost. And even these knights that when they run across, you know, they're losing HP, so that is something to note. Still just the 2 TCs for him. SongSong on just the 2 now, so they are pretty even. But the aggression is coming forward from Dragonstar. Dragonstar, honestly, such a fantastic example of how to play defensively, not allow this massive aggression from the Goths to disrupt you too much. I'm hoping that he can maintain his composure, as these Huskarls are obviously looping around. Going to try to loop down and around, and where are they going to end up? Probably in the farms or on this wood line, just away from these knights, these camels, mangonels, and monks. As the Huskarls getting converted, so good move to throw out the monks and get conversions where he can, as this main gold is already out for Dragonstar, so we will see that he is just trying to keep up, as his main force of Huskarls looped all the way around just to come back around here. Interesting choice there. They will take out monks, but the monks will get some conversions out of it. So overall, not a horrible engagement for the Mongols, but definitely going to lose that engagement most times. That's not a surprise at all. And in the meantime, the main town center now being harassed by the mangonels, and monks are forward. But a little bit of a base trade going on here, as just these 3 Huskarls, they're enough to be taking damage. Look at the damages being taken from these towers. Absolutely nothing. This town center, absolutely nothing. So Dragonstar, while he is being aggressive, he is attacking the economy of the enemy. He does have the same amount of villagers right now, but look at this. There's nothing he can do to engage against this. He needs knights of his own, but it's so hard with this castle sitting right here. And of course, he does have the resources for a castle of his own, but where's he going to drop it? He needs his economy, so he might drop it there, but instead, he calls the GG. Dragonstar resigns. Once you get to a point where Huskarls are running through your economy, there is really nothing you can do. And this castle drops so bold, but just the second that castle went up, there is nothing that Dragonstar could have done. Great hold from him, but that's the power of the Goths.